Hello. I'm going to talk about a movie again. This is a documentary, a new documentary. I heard about it because I follow Alex Gibney, a famous documentary maker, on Facebook and X, and he is the producer of this particular movie. It is called the Bibi Files. And the thing about this movie is it actually has, I guess, leaked or whatever. It has video interview material of the Israeli police investigating the corruption of Benjamin Netanyahu. And so we see the police interrogations of Netanyahu, of his wife, of some of his associates, some of his big supporters, both Sheldon and Miriam Adelson. Sheldon died in 2021, so it's this material is from 2016, so this stuff has been going on for a while. And also Aaron Milchan is interviewed by the police. He is a big-time producer, Israeli, who is a big-time producer, Hollywood producer of many movies that you would know, probably have seen, probably more that you've seen than I've seen. But anyway, like, you know, good movies. And he is Israeli, as I said, and I don't think he's not an American citizen. He's stayed Israeli. And I've read about him before in a book I reviewed here, actually, called Spy Fail by James Bamford. So I'd been aware of what he had been up to. He is, according to Bamford, he was involved in, intelligence stuff, spy stuff. Basically, he was, as a younger person, he somehow arranged for for stolen devices that detonate nuclear weapons as Israel was getting their nuclear weapons. Building their nuclear weapons for the first time. He had somehow some kind of connections to getting this particular device that was needed for the nuclear weapons. And in the film, it shows a clip where he's kind of gloating, kind of proud about having done stuff like this. I don't think he mentioned the nuke stuff, but he mentioned, doing other sorts of things. So it has a lot to do with the gifts. The corruption deal has to do with the gifts that these people have give Netanyahu and his wife Sarah, who's also interviewed, which is his second wife, and his son, who is interviewed some too, who was very, very right-wing and very entitled seeming, which I guess he gets from his family. I was wondering about these Adelsons. Miriam Adelson is still alive, and she's the one who said she would give Trump $100 million for what? For the West Bank or something like that. Trump, there's a speech about where Trump is speaking to an Israeli organization in USA and talking about how Miriam and Sheldon would pressure him to do this and that, and he would deliver it right away. So they are very big. Well, she now is a very big promoter, contributor to his to Trump's thing, and a major supporter of Israel. I was just looking her up on Wikipedia, and she is, I think, the richest Israeli. Miriam Adelson has a wealth that is said to be $32 billion. And a lot of this comes from casinos. This is the kind of person who wants to get rich from addiction of people with this horrible addiction to gambling. I don't really gamble. I mean, I'm not interested in it, and I know the house always wins, so it's like, why would I do that and throw my money away? But people do it. It's interesting that Miriam Adelson, the Sands is what they own. So if you want to go to Las Vegas, avoid the Sands. And she also owns part of some basketball team or something, and other stuff. She is a doctor by trade. She learned to be a doctor, and actually, her focus was addiction. So it's interesting that someone who was a doctor and an addiction expert. Presumably they're talking about substances, but don't we know that gambling is also an addiction? That it sets off certain same sorts of triggers in the brain and keeps you doing the same thing. So it's kind of ironic that this woman, who is this addiction doctor, ends up making all this money out of exploiting the addictions of other people. So the interrogations go into a lot of what these people do for the Netanyahus. It states that the Netanyahus like to have a luxurious lifestyle. I mean, apparently, Netanyahu has been in the center of things almost 30 years. He was first elected prime minister 30 years ago, 30 years ago next year, so in 1996. So he's really kind of entrenched there in Israeli politics and society. So and the very, very right wing, and the movie talks about how he's manipulating the Supreme Court, doing other things, trying to manipulate. It shows big demonstrations happening in Israel, thousands and thousands of people in the streets protesting Netanyahu and trying to get him to be convicted for this corruption that he's been doing. A previous prime minister actually went to prison for corruption, for taking gifts. So the movie suggests that a lot of the reasons that Netanyahu wants to stay at war right now is that while the country is in crisis, he can delay his day in court and keep himself out of jail, somewhat longer. So, and of course, he's the International Criminal Court, whatever ICC has him on the list for people who should be arrested right now for war crimes. Yeah, it doesn't state it particularly, but it does talk about October 7th. October 7th, what, 23 now? I guess it is, right? When the Hamas breach of the parent, the unpenetrable walls, and killed a bunch of people and took a bunch of other people hostage, and then that just like 9/11 here, it gave the Israeli government the green light for basically slaughtering the Palestinians, which they've been up to for the last for since then, and we've seen pictures of the bombings. Of course, you can't let press in there. Of course, if any press goes in or tries to sneak in, Israel controls the whole scene. You can't. They're not letting. They don't let enough food aid in, and people are starving. They've gone in and bombed all the hospitals. If a child needs amputated because of shrapnel hitting it from one of the bombs or something, there was no anesthetic for the removal of the leg or whatever. So it just has to be done. So this is the horrible situation, and this is the people who are running it, in charge of it. These sleazy gambling people, a sleazy movie producer, giving cases of the biggest champagne to whatever very expensive champagne that the wife consumes, jeweled bracelets. Milchan had a favor done for him by Netanyahu, as he was having visa problems coming back into the United States, and so he Netanyahu pulled some strings and got him his visa, apparently. And we see the images of the really horrifying time when it was in July, when he came and talked to Congress, and they stand 54 times, whatever, giving him standing ovations during his speech. Of course, he owns them too, because we know how much the Israel lobby pays to prime the pump of politicians and buy them. And we have an idiotic system where they're always up for election, and then they have to buy time on the TV channels and everything. The United States owns the airwaves and just lets these companies use them, and then they sell the ad space to, well, in this case, politicians, at enormous amounts of money, and pocket the money, and then we're supposed to contribute to the politicians, politicians of our choice, to feed the whole machine again. So that's a little wrap-up about this movie. It is playing still in New York at the IFC Center. I did not see it there. I kind of prefer to watch movies more at home, I guess, than have to go into theaters, and I don't like previews. So I watched it for $12 online, where you can, I think Jolt is I'll put the link to the site if you want to watch the movie yourself. It's quite interesting. It's a very hot issue these days, and bound to get a good deal hotter if we end up going to war with Iran for the sake of Israel and for the sake of Netanyahu. I mean, I feel like a lot of these Middle East incursions have been, well, the interests of Israel and the United States have been part of the mix, getting the whole Sodom weapons of mass destruction thing, and what happened with Iraq and these other Syria, which has just happened. How we and the and the Israelis have replaced the Assad government with these terrorist people who Al Qaeda people. So I mean, this is what I've been told. So this is what I'm telling you. So it's. I kind of think the whole October 7th thing was let to happen. The whole idea of this impenetrable wall being breached so easily, I think it's been let to happen. And we see other demonstrations of Israelis trying to get the hostages. They want the Israeli citizens who are still hostages back. And this can be done. You have a ceasefire and you release some Palestinians and there's an exchange. That's the way it's done. But not this time. Netanyahu, he just wants to kill all the Palestinians, apparently, and have from the river to the sea for Israel. So, yeah, it's easy to have one's head run into directions of conspiracy in all these sorts of situations. I mean, if you look at 9/11 even here in New York, and what happened after that, and the people dancing on the roof that we've heard about, and the Building 7, it's all just so suspicious, and then to see how the military profits from the whole thing, like. There are people who make vast sums of money out of war, out of producing killing machines. And that's what humans are, I guess. So there's a recent interview with Chris Hedges and Gabor Maté, where they talk about Gabor Maté is an expert about trauma, human trauma, and so the discussion is about how even us who are not there, who are hearing about this stuff, can be somewhat traumatized by this relentless slaughter of people who, children, starvation, and how sickening it is, and how unable to really do anything about it. I mean, now that there's anti-Semitism is equal to anti-Zionism is equal to anti-Semitism, so they say. Which it is not. I have seen talks of Israeli of Jewish people who don't believe in this sort of Zionist thing, which all grew up in the past 120 years or so. It's not something that was always there, and God, their chosen land that God decided, and but I don't really believe in God, so that's a non-starter for me. So yeah, that's I guess that's all I'm going to talk about today. You can check out the movie if you want.